There's something we all do. We do it when we're alone. We don't talk about it. It never gets mentioned. It just happens. Let's change that. Let's talk about it. Let's wash this bike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm John, the Ribble Valley Cyclist. So first off, it is great to be back in the workshop doing videos after 2 months. I'd like to give you some fantastic excuse why I've not been doing videos in here, but if the truth of the matter is, I had a coffee machine scattered all over the workbench that was broken, and I have now fixed said coffee machine, so I can now come back in here and do some videos. Right, well, while I've not been in here, I have kept myself busy, and as some of you know, I've done quite a few videos on cycling apparel and stuff. And one of those was a cycling top 10. And in there, I think it was number 7, I said that you don't need cycling specific socks. I probably, on reflection, I probably should have worded that a bit differently because I got a bit of a ribbon for that. I should have probably said something along the lines of, you may want to try alternatives to cycling specific socks during the winter months. So yeah, for example, merino wool. I have tried them in the past. I have had a few pairs, and after washing them a couple of times, they ended up about that big. But no, I will take your feedback on that, and I will try some merino wool socks again, and hopefully they won't shrink to that big. I won't, however, be trying waterproof socks because I've tried them in the past several times and they just don't agree with me. I won't bore you with reasons why, but there you go. So yeah, that's that addressed. And also, while I was doing that sort of stuff, a lot of people asked me about my cycling cleaning regime of winter bikes. So to be honest with you, I thought to myself, I probably clean my bike in exactly the same way everyone else does. However, no, a few people have asked me about it. So coming up in a minute, I've got a video of how I've got a 5-minute routine of cleaning my bike after a winter ride. And yeah, that's coming up in a minute. But also I thought it would be interesting if we do a video on that, because in all fairness, no one's done it in a while. And it'd be interesting to hear what other people are using and doing when it comes down to bike cleaning stuff. So watch that video and then put some comments below. Tell us what you're doing and share your experiences with other people. So yeah, so that's coming up in a minute. What else is coming up in my little channel in the next few weeks? I've got some more cycling kit coming up, some really clever stuff, interesting stuff to show you. And we've got a few workshop videos coming up. So if there's something specific you want me to cover in a workshop video, stick a comment below. And if it's something I can help you with, we'll do a video on it. Right, okay, so on with the video outside in the freezing cold of me washing a bike in 2 degrees. Here we go, outside, 1st of December tomorrow. And it's, I think it's about 2 degrees. So yeah, it's cold. So your bike takes a lot of wear in the winter months. So it's really important during the winter, more than the summer, that you keep your bike clean. And the rule I go with is little and often. You know, get back from your ride, get your bike cleaned. And I find because of that, if you do it little and often, it's a lot easier to do, and it's a lot easier on your pocket, because if you just leave it, then you're going to find something horrific when you then do eventually go to clean your bike. Right, so you've got essentials, the essential things you need to clean your bike, and then you've got the nice to have. So essentials, obvious, first thing, water, and then you've got stuff like, you know, a bike cleaner like that, and degreasers. Now, I personally use stuff like this, but that's a whole different thing, and we'll go there another day. So you've got stuff like that, the bio degreaser from Muc-Off. I think the one we'll use today is this old one, because chances are most of you have already got some of this, so you're familiar with it. And there's another one that you can use, which, to be honest, I find it's quite a good thing. It's not that easy to pick up. It's one of the Muc-Off's urban range. That's it. And this is for a quick chain clean. That's a great degreaser as well. So that's the cleaners and degreasers we're going to be using, and brushes. Now the two, for most of the time, the two cycling specific brushes I use, this is a little brush from Muc-Off, a little hard one that I use that a lot, and this one, which I call a seahorse brush, because they just look a bit like a seahorse, don't they? These are great, you know, if you've got something that's really nasty and you've got a lot of grease and grit, these are great, like cleaning out jockey wheels and stuff like that. But other than that, for the vast majority of the bike, like the frame and the wheels, to be honest with you, I just use old paint brushes and it works for me. So those are the essentials that you need to clean your bike. And the nice to haves, this is for the rim brake riders out there, these are great. This is actually a brush for car wheels, but rim brakes, great, just cover it in foam cleaner, run it through the brakes, does a great job. And also down the little bits of the frame that you can't get to, that is a great thing. And for the disc brake guys, most of you probably use a product like that. I'm checking out this stuff at the moment from a small independent company called Crankalicious. And the reason I'm using this is because compared to the other mainstream brands, this one does exactly the same job. However, it comes with a little bottle, so it's easier to control. You get more in it, and you know what? Let's support a small guy rather than giving the money to the big guys. So yeah, I'm all for that. And with brake cleaner, a little tip for you: for disc brake cleaning, keep your brushes separate. Put them on a little band on there. So these brushes only ever get used for brake cleaning. Great little tip that. Stops them contaminating your brakes. So the only other thing that's worth mentioning is once your bike's all clean, you're going to need some kind of lubricant, and I'm a big fan of an oily rag, and I'll go into more detail on that in a second. Right, okay, so let's clean this bike. So one of the most vulnerable parts of the bike is the drivetrain. You've got exposed metal components, and flying up off of the tyres you've got water, salt, mud, grit, all of that's getting flung over the drivetrain, and the drivetrain's got oil on it, so you get all those contaminants and you mix it with that oil and you end up with like a grinding paste, and that grinding paste will literally wear the components out and do irreparable damage. Now if you're unsure, the bike will talk to you. You'll feel it. You'll feel when you're changing gear, it will be clunky, it will miss gears, it will skip. You'll literally feel it through the cranks as you're pedaling. You'll feel the grinding and the crunching. The bike will talk to you, and the bike will tell you that this needs dealing with. Right, so let's grab some degreaser and a hard brush and give it a going over. Right, so we'll use some classic Muc-Off drivetrain cleaner and one of their small hard brushes. For me, I've yet to find a better brush for doing this job. Perfect. So, top tip for people that are disc brake users: you've got to be so careful when you're doing this process. You hear this whole horror story about disc brakes getting contaminated. It's during cleaning processes like this that can happen. You spray it over all liberally, and you scrub them with the brush, and everything's flying everywhere, and you end up throwing loads of grease and slime and oil all over both the discs and the pads, and you end up contaminating the brakes, and that's when that problem happens. So, smart move for you is work from the front of the bike here. Work through like this, yeah, or back here at the jockey wheels, but point down, fire away, always away from those disc bracers. When you're doing the actual cassette, put a little bit on the brush and just go easy on it. Don't go mad, just softly does it. Take your time, clean it. If you think you have flung a bit of grease, oil or slime over the disc brakes, just grab the hose and give it a good soaking, or alternatively a bit of brake cleaner. Right, okay, so that's that. As I say, give it a good going over all the way round. Work it all at the front here. Work it in from every angle and give the chain a thorough cleaning. Right, okay, so on to the next step. Right, so the next stage is to give the drivetrain a rinsing off and get rid of all of that degreaser. if you've not got one, get yourself a hose head like this, because you've got this varying spray types and you've also got control over it. It just gives you a lot more control over what you're doing. Right, so let's get all this rinsed off. Like previously, don't let this get all over those discs. What we will do before we start, let's do the discs first. Just give that a good soaking. And let's change our head to a spray like that. Always firing down and away from any of the brakes. Fire down. If in doubt, give it a spray at the back. And as you can see there, it's going, as I was saying earlier, with that degreaser, mix it with water, it goes all milky. You just make it out, coming out on the cranks. And there you go. You can instantly see the difference. So there you go, that's that rinsed off. So the next step's the obvious one. We'll give it a good foaming cleaner. So some of this stuff and just plain old brush. To be honest with you, for me, for a winter bike, my concerns is the drivetrain. And on this particular bike, the disc brakes. I'm not overly fussed about how clean the frame is or how clean all the other non-moving components are. My main concerns are those areas there. But we'll give the bike a thorough once over. There's no point in squirting like that because you're not going to do a very good job of catching the bike. Go from the side like that. Then you'll get it covered in. You won't waste so much soap. Spin the wheel. Get it all over the brush. Right, and then fly around the frame. There you go. Now, obvious, just rinse it off. Work away from the top down. There you go, simple as that. Next step, let's give the brakes a quick once over. Right, so I'll flip the bike around so you can see what I'm doing. As I was saying earlier, when it comes down to brakes, just fix a couple of brushes straight to your brake cleaner bottle and only ever use these brushes for your brakes. That way you will never contaminate your brakes with an oily brush. And it's not a complicated process, it's just squirt the brake cleaner on liberally and just give it a good going over with a brush. Clean the rotors. Dig the brushes in. If it's really, really bad, take the wheel off and then give the caliper a proper going over and the disc a proper going over. But if you're doing it regularly, you don't really need to because you never got anything that's too bad. Just a quick once over. And we'll do the same on the back. Long bristle brush so it's getting right in there. As you can see, there's a lot of gunk coming out. Give it a good rinsing with the brake cleaner as well. Squirt it all in. And once you've done that, the obvious next move, give it a thorough rinse. Get the drivetrain, spin it up, nice and fast. Put that back brake on. Next, flip it around again, and let's oil it back up. Right, so that's the bike flip back round. So now what we're going to do is going to get this drivetrain, spin it up, and try and get as much of the moisture off of it as possible, just using the centrifugal force, just to spin it all out. Once you've done that, grab your oily rag. This is why you need an oily rag. Just grab that chain, run the chain through the oily rag. This will help get any moisture out of the chain. The last thing you want is moisture in the chain before you put the oil in. If you can, leave the bike lent up somewhere for half an hour to dry off. Take the bike off the rack, give it a tap on the floor to try and get some of the moisture out. But around the drivetrain, an oily rag is a great thing. Obviously you don't want to use this anywhere else on the bike, but as I say, on the drivetrain, ideal. With all the modern stuff we've got today, there is still a place for an oily rag, especially on your winter hack. Okay, so the next step is to put some oil on the chain. And the classic problem with oil in the chain is you don't know where you started, so you don't know where to stop. So if you've got one, that's handy. There, look. Just get your split link and find your split link and start at your split link. So then when it comes back round again, you know you've done the whole chain. If not, put some kind of mark on one of the links, pencil or something, just so you know where you've gone from. And literally lean it on, and what you're doing is you're oiling the rollers. I'll do a close-up of this, but you're oiling the rollers, not the whole chain, just those round rollers in between. Keep going all the way round until you get back round to the split link again. There you go. It's as easy as that. What you can also do, if you've got one, get yourself an old toothbrush. Just rub it in with an old toothbrush. Put a bit of oil on the old toothbrush and put it on the cassette. Once again, you're working round near the discs, so go easy there. Okay. And roll it round a bit, change the gears through a bit, just to get all that oil pushed all in the chain. And if you need to, grab your oily rag, give it a bit of a wipe down, and apply a little bit more. So there you go, that's my 5-minute winter bike wash. If you found this useful, do me a favour, hit the like button. If you want to see my upcoming videos where I'm doing some stuff in the workshop, and I've got some more winter kit on the way, hit that subscribe button and you'll get notified when that comes out. And if you want to see my top 10 on winter cycling kit, click up there. And if you want to see the review I've just done on a really interesting pair of winter cycling gloves, that one there. Thanks for watching.